I didn't hear the gunshot. I felt it, more like a vibration under my boots, seconds before I heard my brother Mark scream my name from somewhere deep inside the trees. Caleb, run. Branches snapped. Something big was moving fast. I didn't think. I just bolted. My flashlight beam jittered wildly as I sprinted between the pines, lungs burning, the cold air slicing my throat. The forest had gone unnaturally quiet. No insects, no wind, nothing except my own ragged breathing and the chaotic thumping behind me. Mark. I yelled, not daring to look back. Where are you? No answer. Only movement. Heavy, deliberate, stalking movement. Then everything stopped. Not gradually, instantly. Like the forest itself held its breath. I slowed my run, stumbling to a halt near the creek, flashlight trembling in my hands. The trees loomed around me, black silhouettes crowding closer. I listened, swallowing hard. Nothing. Just the slow drip of water over stones. I rotated in a circle. Mark? My voice cracked. Say something, man. A twig snapped behind me. I spun, light flashing, only to reveal nothing but endless darkness between the trunks. I whispered, "Where are you?" A voice whispered back, "Caleb." But it wasn't Mark's voice. It tried to sound like him. But the tone was stretched wrong, too flat, too patient. I stepped back, heart hammering. My boots slipped on wet leaves and I crashed onto the ground, the flashlight rolling away. "Caleb," the voice repeated, closer this time. My shaking fingers closed around the flashlight, and when I raised it, two bright, reflective eyes, too high off the ground to be human, staring at me from behind a tree. I froze. My chest tightened so hard I couldn't breathe. "Caleb," it whispered again, but those lips weren't Mark's. The voice echoed like it came from a hollow chest. I scrambled back, pushing myself across the dirt until my spine hit another tree. The eyes blinked. What? Then again, out of sync, like each eyelid had its own rhythm. Then the thing stepped aside, melting into the darkness with a sound like wet fabric sliding across bark. I didn't move again until dawn. Mark's disappearance lasted exactly 24 hours. The search party found nothing. No tracks, no blood, not even a hint of direction. And just when the sheriff started muttering about calling off the sweep, Mark walked out of the trees. Just walked out. Like he'd taken a casual stroll. Thank God, I breathed when I saw him. Relief punched the air out of me. Jesus, Mark, where were you? I heard something chasing. He smiled, lifting a hand in a lazy wave. Hey, Caleb. Sorry for the trouble. I froze. His smile didn't reach his eyes. His eyes weren't even looking at me, they were locked somewhere past my shoulder, like he was observing something right behind me. I turned. Nothing was there. Mark? I approached him slowly, studying him. You look fine. Too fine. You disappeared in the middle of the night, man. The whole town. I know, he cut in, but his voice was wrong. Same tone. Same pitch. But the timing, slightly delayed like a playback buffer glitch. I forced a laugh. You good? You're acting weird. I'm perfectly fine, he said. Let's go home. His head turned toward me a second late. Like the movement didn't belong to the body. A chill crawled up my spine. But I nodded anyway. Yeah, let's get you home. Lena, Mark's wife, burst into tears when she saw him. She wrapped her arms around him, sobbing into his shoulder. But Mark didn't hug her back. He just stood there, stiff and still, arms hanging loosely by his sides, staring at the wall behind her. Then, as if remembering he was supposed to react, he slowly raised his arms and patted her back, too slowly, too carefully, like he'd watched a tutorial. I swallowed hard. The dog Rusty growled. Low, continuous, teeth bared. Mark glanced down at him. Rusty whimpered, tail between legs, and sprinted into the bedroom. Lena pulled back. Mark? What's wrong? Why aren't you saying anything? He smiled again. Wrongly. I'm fine, he said automatically. Just tired. That night I stayed over. I didn't trust leaving them alone. Something was off. Way off. We sat at the dinner table. Mark ate mechanically, same size bites, same number of chews. Eyes unfocused. Chewing without emotion. I tried easing into conversation. Mark, do you remember anything from last night? Before you disappeared? He froze mid-chew. Not stopped, froze. Every muscle still. Then slowly, too slowly, he turned his head toward me. I remember, he said. Silence. Well? I whispered. A beat. Another. His cheek twitched. I remember, cold. I frowned. Cold? He blinked, one eye first, then the second. Yes. Lena reached out and touched his hand. Baby, you're scaring me. What happened out there? Mark's shoulders rose and fell in a practiced imitation of a sigh. I don't know, he said. But the way he said it sounded like a lie from someone who didn't understand what lies were supposed to sound like. I pressed further. Did something chase you? Because I heard. His face snapped toward me again, jaw tightening. Nothing chased me, he said flatly. More silence. I leaned back, uneasy. Okay, I muttered. If you say so. Mark forced a smile. It looked painful. I'm fine. That was the 5th time he'd said it. Nobody asked him to. Later that night, I walked into the hallway and saw something that froze my blood. Mark stood in the living room, perfectly still, facing the window. But his reflection in the glass. It wasn't facing the window. The reflection faced me. Smiling. I stumbled back, muffling a yell. Mark turned around, smile fading. Everything okay? He asked. His reflection did not move. My reflection's not copying you, I whispered. He glanced at the window. Slowly the reflection turned to match him, but a second late. I stepped behind a wall, pulse racing. Caleb, he said softly. Come here. No, I breathed. His footsteps approached, slow, deliberate. Each step made the house creak, but his reflection steps made no sound at all. That's when I knew. Whatever came out of the forest wasn't my brother. Not anymore. I stayed hidden behind the hallway wall, breathing shallowly, trying not to make a sound. My heart slammed so loudly against my ribs I was terrified it could hear it. Caleb? Mark's voice floated toward me. Too calm. Too steady. Why are you hiding? My mouth was too dry to answer. Every instinct screamed, don't move, don't breathe, don't respond. A soft creak. Another step. Another. He was right around the corner. I whispered into the dark, please God, not like this. The footsteps stopped. Then a sound, small, sharp, like a neck cracking, followed by a slow exhale. Caleb, he said again. Come out. I clenched my jaw. He wasn't supposed to sound like that, calm and patient like a predator that already knew exactly where its prey was. I know you're there, he added. And then his head slid into view around the corner, not leaned, not peeked, slid like the motion came from the torso, not the neck. His face appeared first, then the rest of him turned unnaturally late, catching up in a glitching rotation. I almost screamed. There you are, he said softly. Why are you hiding from me? I wasn't, I stammered. His lips stretched into a smile that didn't lift his cheeks. Liar. My blood chilled. Mark? Lena's sleepy voice drifted from the bedroom. Instantly, the thing's posture changed, shoulders lowering, spine straightening, head tilting in a perfect, practiced imitation of normal human reaction. Like he snapped into a disguise. He turned toward the bedroom. I'm here, he called out. Pitch perfect. Too perfect. Just checking on something. Lena appeared in the hallway doorway, rubbing her eyes. It's past midnight. Why are you two awake? I opened my mouth, but Mark's hand clamped down on my shoulder in a soft but final warning. We were talking, he said. About what? She asked. Mark's fingers tightened. Just catching up, I forced out. She nodded sleepily. All right. Come to bed soon, both of you. Mark watched her go with a smile that looked like it had been programmed rather than felt. When she disappeared, his smile vanished instantly, like a mask removed. He leaned down, face inches from mine, whispering, Don't wake her again. I swallowed hard. Why? He blinked. She needs rest. That wasn't a response. That wasn't how Mark spoke. He turned away, walking toward the darkness of the living room. His shadow followed a second late, then sped up to match. I almost vomited. I barely slept. Every sound in the house jolted me awake. Footsteps, creaking, rustling, humming. At one point, I swore I heard whispering from the vents. My skin crawled with every hour that passed. At sunrise, I found Mark sitting at the kitchen table, staring at the wall. Just staring. Not blinking. Not moving. Morning, I croaked, throat raw. His eyes shifted to me, only his eyes, the rest of his face staying still until half a second later when his head followed. Good morning, Caleb, he said, voice smooth as glass. I made coffee. I glanced at the mug in front of him. It was empty. Filled. Empty again. Like he'd poured and dumped it repeatedly during the night. You asleep? I asked. I watched the house. You watched. Not slept. Not rested. Watched. What for? I asked. He considered the question like he didn't understand it, then answered. For movement. I nearly choked. Movement of what? Silence. Then with a slow smile. You. Lena entered the kitchen, then yawning, hair messy. She smiled tiredly at Mark. Morning, babe. Mark's entire demeanor shifted, shoulders falling, smile warming, voice softening. Morning, sweetheart. He leaned over and kissed her forehead. His lips lingered too long. His smile stayed too long. She chuckled nervously. Okay, weirdo. But she didn't see the way his pupils dilated unnaturally. Didn't see the way his fingers pressed into her back a moment longer than they should. I had to step in. So, we should head out soon, I said loudly. Groceries. Remember? Lena blinked. All right. Mark stood up suddenly, chair scraping. I'll come. No, I said quickly. Rest. You've had a long few days. His head twitched. Lena touched his arm. He's right, babe. Stay home for now, okay? Mark's jaw clenched. His smile stretched painfully. Okay. On the drive to the store, Lena kept glancing at me. What's wrong? Nothing, I lied. Caleb. I exhaled. He's not himself. Of course he's not, he was missing. He's probably traumatized. No, Lena, I said, voice dropping. He's not Mark. She stared at me like I was insane. You didn't see what I saw, I continued. His reflection didn't match him. His movements. Caleb. Stop. She shook her head, gripping the steering wheel. You're scaring me more than he is, she said. I stared at her. You should be scared of him. We returned home an hour later. Rusty, the dog, was in the yard, whining and clawing at the back door, desperate to get inside or get attention. When he saw us, he bolted over, then froze, staring at the house, ears pinned back. He whined louder, circling us nervously. What's wrong with him? Lena asked. I knelt, petting him. He's terrified. We entered the house. Mark? Lena called. Silence. I stepped deeper into the living room. Mark? Still silence. Then I turned and froze. All the kitchen knives were neatly arranged on the table. Perfectly parallel. Perfectly aligned. Lena, I whispered. Stay back. Before she could respond, we heard footsteps upstairs, slow and heavy. Mark appeared at the top of the stairs, head tilted too far to the side. Welcome home, he said softly. Lena sighed. Mark, what are you doing with the knives? He blinked out of sync. I was organizing. I stepped forward. Why? He looked at me for a long moment. Too long. They were out of place. His voice had no life in it. Lena walked past me toward the stairs. Baby, you're not acting right. Lena, stop. I tried grabbing her arm, but she shook me off. Mark descended the stairs slowly, each step creaking under him. His eyes locked on Lena's throat again. I stepped between them. What's going on, Mark? I asked firmly. He tilted his head the opposite direction. I'm adjusting. To what? His lips twitched. To being here. That answer made my skin crawl. That night, everything fell apart. I woke to tapping again. Not on the window this time. On the side of the house. Rapid, desperate tapping. I crept to the back door and froze. A voice, ragged, hoarse, terrified, whispered, Caleb, open up, please. It's me. It's Mark. My stomach dropped. No. I opened the curtains. And there he was. The real Mark. Bloody. Shaking. Barefoot. Eyes wide with terror. Caleb, he whispered. Don't let it inside. Please. That thing is wearing me. And behind me, floorboards creaked. I turned. The thing wearing him was standing in the hallway. Smiling. Mark lowered his head and whispered, Don't let it in. For a second I couldn't breathe. Because the words didn't come from his mouth. They came from behind me. A soft echo. Like a perfectly timed mimicry. I spun around so fast my vision blurred. The living room was empty. Yet the air felt thick, humid, warm, like someone had breathed directly on the back of my neck. My voice cracked. Mark, which one are you? He looked up at me, eyes trembling, tears streaking dirt down his cheeks. I'm me, Lena. I swear to God I'm me. I've been lost in the woods for, he swallowed, voice breaking. For something like days, maybe longer. I kept hearing you calling me. But it wasn't you. It was that thing. It was using your voice to pull me deeper. My heart twisted painfully. I didn't call you, I whispered. Mark nodded, face pale. I know that now. A sound came from the hallway, slow, dragging footsteps. Heavy. Deliberate. Wrong. Mark's eyes widened. Lena, where is it? A cold current rolled through the house, pushing at my skin like invisible hands. I barely whispered. Inside. The dragging stopped. Lena? The voice was Mark's. Perfectly identical. Same tone. Same softness. Only, too soft. Like it was imitating, not speaking. Mark grabbed my arm. You have to trust me. Please. A shape moved in the hallway. A tall silhouette. Mark's silhouette. But its shadow stretched sideways, long and crooked like a spider's limb. Don't go near it, Mark hissed. But the thing stepped forward. And when it entered the light, my stomach flipped. It was Mark. Same clothes. Same face. Same smell of pine and sweat. But its smile was too impossibly wide, stretching the skin of his cheeks as if someone were tugging from behind. Lena, it said with Mark's voice, why is the door open? I felt my knees weaken. The real Mark squeezed my hand. You know that's not me. But the thing kept smiling, its lips not moving in sync with the words, like the audio and video were misaligned. Close the door, huh? Let's sit together, huh? Where's my dinner, huh? It repeated phrases Mark normally said, but stitched together randomly like a broken doll reciting memories. The real Mark whispered, it copies what it hears, but not what it understands. The thing tilted its head at us. So, cold. Side, it said, each word falling in the wrong emotional tone. Then its face twitched. Something shifted under its cheek as if bones were rearranging. I whispered, Mark, what does it want? I think, he said, it wants your trust. Once it gets close enough, it takes. Takes what? Before Mark could answer, the thing lunged. I screamed. Mark pulled me toward the back door, but it slammed shut before we reached it, as if the house itself locked us in. The thing moved fast, too fast. 1 second it was across the room. The next it was a breath away from me, head hanging too low, like its neck had partially unhinged. It whispered, Lena, let me in. But you're already inside. I yelled. It blinked slowly, confused. Then its face returned to a flat, empty expression, like it hadn't understood the emotion behind my words. Mark shoved the creature away and grabbed my arm. Basement, he cried. We ran. The hallway stretched behind us, but the sound that followed made my blood freeze. 4 limbs hitting the floor at once. Like a hunting animal. The thing had dropped to all fours and was scrambling after us, its joints bending the wrong way, hands slapping against the wood with wet cracks. Go! Mark yelled. I stumbled down the basement stairs as he slammed the door behind us. The impact shook the frame. Mark! I cried. I got it. Thud. Something slammed the other side of the door. Then again. And again. The wood cracked. Mark stumbled backward down the stairs, breath shaking. God, it's strong. We backed into the basement corner. Thus, cold concrete. Metal shelves. And nothing we could block the door with except. Mark, I whispered, what did it do to you? He leaned against the washing machine, voice shaking. It chased me. Pretended to be my dad. My brother. Then you. I listened at first, until it called me by a nickname only you use. The one I only told you. That's when I knew. A loud crack above us. The basement door frame splintered. Mark grabbed my face with both hands. Lena, look at me. The thing wearing my skin, it wants inside your life. Inside your head. Inside your trust. If you trust it more than me, even for a second, it can step into your place. His voice broke. And I think once it does, the real person fades. The door burst open. Mark pulled me behind a shelf as the creature crawled down the stairs, limbs bending like a puppet dragged by invisible strings. Its voice echoed softly. Linnea, don't be scared. I'm me. Mark whispered, ask it something. Something I would know. I swallowed. Where did we first kiss? The thing stopped. Then in a hopeful voice. On the mouth. Oh my God, I whispered. It smiled proudly like it thought it got it right. The real Mark whispered, ask another? What did you say to me that night? The thing blinked. Its face melted into confusion. Then it whispered, don't let me in. Identical to the real Mark's voice. My skin crawled. Mark squeezed my hand. That's how it catches you. It mixes truth with mimicry. The thing's smile dropped. It turned its head fully upside down, no crack, no pain, just a smooth, unnatural rotation. Then it spoke softly. You're choosing wrong. It lunged. Mark grabbed a metal pole and swung. The pole cracked against the thing's temple, making a hollow, echoing sound like hitting a wooden mask. It screeched, not in Mark's voice anymore. Something older. Hungrier. I helped Mark shove a shelving unit down onto it. Metal clattered. Boxes fell. The creature screamed again, limbs flailing in broken arcs. Upstairs, Mark yelled. We bolted. As we reached the living room, a deep, impossible voice called up from the basement. Linnea. Only one of us is real. Mark grabbed my shoulders. Don't listen. Don't trust its voice. But then, outside the window, a second voice. Broken. Weak. But undeniably real. Lena, please, help me. I spun. My throat tightened. There was another Mark outside. Barefoot. Bleeding. Terrified. Dragging himself across the grass toward the porch. Lena, he cried, you locked me out. That thing inside isn't me. My vision blurred. My heart hammered so hard I felt dizzy. 2 Marks. One in the house. One outside. Both trembling. Both pleading. Both sounding real. Inside, Mark grabbed my hand. Lena, don't open that door. Outside, Mark slammed his palm against the glass. Lena, please, don't let it lie to you. I backed away, shaking violently. Mark, which one? Which one are you? Both answered at the same time. I'm me. And then, the lights went out. The house fell silent, except for the sound of 2 identical voices whispering my name in the dark.